graduate medical education, and I've been a proud GHHS member since 2007. Excuse me. I'm also the chair-elect of the Gold Humanism Honor Society Advisory Council, and I'm on the board of directors of the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. So I have a pretty unique perspective both on the goings-on of the GHHS here in Buffalo as well as around the globe. Some of you might not know about the Gold Humanism Honor Society, so I'd like to give you a quick introduction to this amazing society. Next slide, please. Arnold Gold was a pediatric neurologist at Columbia, and in the 1990s, he and his wife Sandra Gold, who was an educator, were starting to appreciate the fact that there were more and more barriers between providers and their patients, and they started to recognize the importance of patient-centeredness and humanism. And so they started the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. Next slide, please. The Gold Foundation was formed to engage students, residents, schools, health systems, and practicing clinicians in the joy and meaning of humanistic medicine. Next slide. And that was done so that patients and their families can be partners in collaborative, compassionate, and scientifically excellent care. Next slide. The Gold Foundation created the Gold Humanism Honor Society in 2002 to identify students, residents, and faculty who are exemplars of compassionate patient care, who embody the qualities of integrity, excellence, altruism, respect, and empathy, and would serve as role models, leaders, advocates for humanism in medicine. You're joining a community of champions of humanism, something to be proud of. There's more than 160 chapters around the world and 35,000 members currently. In Western New York, we have 350 members and we're growing. Right now, there's a national initiative to engage chapters around the world. So we're about a year into a pilot program for international chapters with all the unsettledness with COVID, that's on hold. But there are now chapters around the world. Everything is kind of on hold with the Gold Foundation right now. The national initiatives around well-being, burnout and engagement, health inequities, and promoting humanism are ongoing. There was another big initiative coming down the pike to engage nursing schools in patient-centeredness and humanism, and we'll be able to look forward to that in the next year. In my role with the Gold Foundation and the GHHS, I'm fortunate to learn a lot about the humanistic activities of chapters around the world. In a little bit, you'll hear more about some of the inspiring projects that are going on locally. In the meantime, I'm honored to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Michael Kane, who's the Vice President for Health Sciences and Dean of the Jacobs School of Medicine. Dr. Kane.
Thank you, Greg, and good evening to everyone. Welcome and congratulations, and I want to thank and welcome our Gold Humanism Society members, importantly our new inductees, family, alumni, our faculty, fellow students, emeritus faculty, donors, and friends that have supported the Gold Humanism Honor Society chapter here at Buffalo. And remarkably, we've been at this with this society and this celebration now for 15 years. I want to congratulate the chapter for being selected by the Gold Foundation as a chapter of distinction and high standard of engagement with the mission of the Gold Foundation. So that's a compliment to all of you and all of us to get that recognition at such a young age. I also want to thank our chapter for the incredible good work that they have done this past year, and obviously for more work that needs to be done that this chapter is capable of achieving. I was asked just to spend a moment or two talking a little bit about what humanism means to me and how it fits in the context of our current world that we live in. So one example that I would use, and there are many, but one I decided to focus on is our Clinical Translational Science Award, which I think, as you know, is it designates us as an NIH Center for Translational and Clinical Research. We're one of 63 such centers in the United States. And so it's quite a distinction and it's quite an honor, and it supports a lot of our clinical and translational research programs. We were successful in achieving our competitive renewal, so we have this grant for 5 more years. And when the grant was written, probably 18 months ago, one of the thrusts of the grant was that we focused on healthcare disparities in Western New York, and particularly the Buffalo community. And as you know, we've worked closely with the Buffalo community and recently established the Health Diversity Research Institute, really to focus on healthcare disparities in our region. And when we wrote this grant, examples of healthcare disparities that we focused on were ones that normally come to mind, and that is, are treatments similar across age and gender and race? Are the outcomes the same if you're Caucasian or if you're Black? Is the access to healthcare delivery equal and easy for everybody? However, the disturbing events that have occurred in Minnesota, Georgia, other places in the country, and most recently here in Buffalo, truly have upset us, they've angered us, and they've sickened us. And they've made it clear that the traditional healthcare disparities about does everyone get a colonoscopy is really only part of racial injustice and racial bias. They now include issues and health issues such as, is it safe to jog? Is it safe to go to a convenience store? And so we each need to recognize the value and goodness of human beings. We need to each be aware of human needs, and we need to be able to use rational ways to solve human problems. So at the school level, we want this school to be recognized as an institution where everyone's work is of high quality. We each carry out our work with the ultimate professionalism and humanism, and we want others to emulate us because of our high quality of work, our professionalism, and our humanism. And it gives me great pride that I can say tonight that I want others to emulate you, our new inductees, and other members of our Gold Humanism Society, because you do achieve those 3 important things of excellence, professionalism, and humanism. And for that, I'm grateful and very proud of all of you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Dr. Kane. Now, like Dr. Kane, I think we've all been thinking about the particularly devastating effect of COVID on our communities of color and the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and many others. I want us to have a moment of silence to reflect on what we can do to address the systemic racism and health inequities that affect every part of our communities, including our hospitals and clinics. Thank you for that. Could we move on to the next slide, please? I'm going to change directions now. Excuse me. Now, I mentioned 28 years ago, Arnold and Sandra Gold were recognizing the the lack of humanism in the providers they were seeing. And like Arnold and Sandra Gold in New York City, Richard and Marcia Sarkin had a vision long before the rest of us that humanism and patient-centeredness were underappreciated but essential components of excellent patient outcomes and provider wellness. In the ensuing years, Marcia has worked tirelessly to promote humanism in Western New York. I'm honored to introduce Ms. Sarkin as she'll tell you more about humanism in Western New York and the founding of our local GHHS chapter. Marcia?
Thank you, Dr. Chair, and thank you, Dr. Kane. It's a pleasure to be a part of this group, and I'm sorry I'm not getting to meet you personally, but welcome and congratulations to all of you, because you're very, very special people to be inducted into the Gold Humanism Honor Society. The reason I am a part of this is that my husband, Richard, was working with the Golds as a traveling fellow. In 2004, they were attending a conference where he and Dr. Steve Miller were the keynote speakers, and the plane crashed and 13 people on the flight died that evening. And so at that point in time, my family, friends, other people from the Buffalo community and across the country just sent out all kinds of wonderful messages to us. And we decided to start a foundation, and it was the Richard T. Sarkin Foundation. And for the last 15 years, we have worked with the University of Buffalo and the emeritus faculty and all of the wonderful faculty at the university. And I enjoyed meeting the students for many, many years. I'm now living in Florida, so this is pretty easy for me to Zoom. But I'm sorry to not get a chance to shake your hands and give you a pin and to just congratulate you personally. But I would like to move on with Dr. Leonard Katz, a dear friend and a wonderful man who has been just regarded, he was regarded so highly by my husband, and he started the emeritus chapter. He knew Sandra and Arnold, as I know them as well, and they're wonderful people, and he has continued to keep the emeritus faculty involved. So I am passing the baton to Dr. Leonard Katz, and I'm sorry not to see you and give you a hug, Leonard.
Thank you, Marcia. And all of us should know, and all who are seeing her for the first time, Marcia Sarkin has been a major force in our community and doing so much good for humanism and more. So we thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the emeritus medical faculty, it is my honor to say welcome to all here to the Gold Humanism Foundation. Our chapter is known as the Richard Sarkin Emeritus Faculty Chapter of the Gold Humanism Foundation, Gold Humanism Honor Society. And that has a little story associated with it. And you, I'm sure, as through your careers, will recognize what humanism is. You've been recognized it, you've been chosen by your colleagues because of your compassionate care for patients. The Buffalo chapter actually began very early. You heard that the whole society began in 2002. Well, we began in 2004, soon after Richard Sarkin's death, that the serendipity played an important role, and never discount the importance of serendipity. It happened that I met Sandra Gold, the wife of Arnold Gold, and she started telling me about this marvelous effort that they had undertaken to expand humanism within medical curriculum and medical education. I resonated with that, came back to Buffalo knowing that the Richard Sarkin had already had this connection with the foundation, with the Arnold P. Gold Foundation, and immediately was endorsed by the emeritus medical faculty. We are the only chapter of the Gold Humanism Society that has, in fact, the emeritus faculty serving as a sponsoring entity. And we are very proud of that. And we continue our connection, and we expect and hope that we will continue this long into the future. So that we are very proud of what we are doing and very proud to follow in the legacy of Richard Sarkin, who really brought humanism to this country and to Western New York. And it's very clear that we are living in a very strange and difficult time where humanism, compassion, and recognizing differences among people should be what we as the medical community incorporate into our understanding, and that we serve as messengers of the importance of being compassionate and fair. And I think you heard Dean Kane say this is already a serious initiative of the medical school, and you will be part of it, whether you stay in Buffalo, New York, or move on wherever you may go. So again, I would welcome you heartily to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. And we know that you will make a difference for your lives as you carry the inspiration of humanism, compassion, and complete recognition of all people of all different backgrounds into your practices and into your communities. So I thank you for that. And now I go back to Dr. Scher, and he's going to introduce David Milling, our Senior Associate Dean, who is a strong supporter of humanism here in Buffalo. So Dr. Scher.
Thanks, Ms. Sarkin, Dr. Katz, for speaking, but also thank you for your years and years of efforts to support humanism and patient-centeredness and give students and residents the opportunity to do all these wonderful activities. As Dr. Katz mentioned, next up will be Dr. David Milling, Senior Associate Dean for Academic and Student Services. He's also the chapter advisor for the student chapter and a Gold Humanism Honor Society member. Dr. Milling.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chair. Welcome again, everybody. Good evening. It's good to see you all. Dean Kane, Dr. Katz, Mrs. Sarkin, the fourth year medical students who are joining us. Thanks for all of the hard work that you've put in this year. And we're looking forward to the good work that our newest inductees will continue to do and to keep this proud chapter moving along. I want to take a quick moment here to just in particular thank Mrs. Sarkin for, as always, showing up and being a part of this event. I am, as I have gotten older, I'm one of the few people who have worked with Dr. Sarkin tonight. He was a teacher and later a mentor and a friend. And as I look at that picture of him with his beard, I am happy that we're now in phase 2 because all of us would have looked a little bit differently tonight if it weren't for that fact. So thanks, Mrs. Sarkin, and thanks to you and Dr. Sarkin for continuing to support everything that we've done here. Want to start out by also acknowledging the GHHS members who are here with us tonight, the student, resident, and faculty inductees, our donors who have sponsored inductees, and of course, our family members who are joining us. As a special part of our program tonight, we'll be honoring a fourth year member and present the Howard R. Goldstein Memorial Humanitarian Scholarship Award. 5 years ago, Mrs. Judith Goldstein and her other donors attended this event and presented a scholarship award in memory of her late husband, Dr. Howard Goldstein, to a fourth year member of the GHHS family who had demonstrated a humanitarian character throughout their time in medical school. Dr. Goldstein, it was said of that for many of us, Howie was somebody we could model ourselves after. His insight, his humor, his innovation, his presence all made him unique in a wonderful way. Whether he was aware he had it, he never flaunted it, but used it to soothe others, bringing joy to their day and allowing us to breathe easier. That is also characteristic of the person who is getting the award this year. Again, the scholarship honors a fourth year medical student who demonstrates a humanitarian visit. And we're pleased and proud today to present this to Dr. Aaron Bola uh, of the class of 2020. Dr. Bola recently matched in New York City in
Yep.
emergency medicine. And he's actually going to spend a couple of minutes and highlight some of the chapter accomplishments from us for the students. So Dr. Bola, congratulations, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Milling. Still so weird to hear Dr. Bola. Before anything else, I'd like to express my immense gratitude to the donors of the Goldstein Award. This is an honor I will cherish forever, and I can't thank the following donors enough for their generous support. Dr. Lee Goldstein, Mrs. Judith Goldstein, Dr. Wayne and Mrs. Laura Glazer, and Dr. Elliot and Mrs. Bonnie Schulman. It's so nice to see everyone and be part of this ceremony from the floor of my apartment in New York City. I just moved here 2 days ago. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and finding ways to celebrate this occasion with the people they love. To this year's inductees, congratulations. It truly was a pleasure to get to know you through the nominations your peers submitted, and they did submit a lot, so we had to read a lot. And we will hear more about those in a little bit. We are so excited to have you all as part of the team as new members of the Richard T. Sarkin Emeritus Faculty Gold Humanism Honor Society. Induction into GHHS is a national recognition given to select students such as yourselves, and in the case of the University of Buffalo residents as well, who demonstrate the characteristics of humanism in medicine, both in clinical practice and contribution to the community. This past year, my classmates and I worked on several initiatives to keep the spirit of humanism alive and well within the Jacobs School and the Buffalo community. I'm sure some of you are familiar with these, but just a quick run through. We had a lot of initiatives with regards to step one, which as I'm sure a lot of people know, is a very trying time for most medical students. It is one of the most important exams we ever take. So we had a step one lunch break, which was an annual event that was again a hit. It was an opportunity for the M2s to take a break and get reconnected with their classmates, as well as to the M3s who made it through the ordeal of step one already, and get some reassurance and some mentorship and support. This year, we also had a new event that was inspired by the wonderful Dr. Jennifer Mecca, who was part of a similar event at her previous institution called Dean's Flipping Pancakes. She and the rest of the deans wanted an opportunity to help support the M2s while studying for the boards, and they had a great time making and serving pancakes to the students. Another thing in connection to step one was the step one mentoring hotline, in which Gold Humanism members provided contact information and were available 24/7 for underclassmen for mentoring and support during dedicated studying. With regards to orientation, we were also part of the welcoming committee for the current M1s by having an orientation book discussion. This year, we chose the truly beautiful memoir, When Breath Becomes Air by Dr. Paul Kalanithi, which detailed his life and illness battling stage 4 metastatic lung cancer while being a neurosurgery resident. Another initiative that our class continued was Prescription for Warmth. This is a program in the city of Buffalo that uses monetary donations to purchase weatherproof gloves for victims of frostbite. And through the program, we were able to provide hundreds of pairs of gloves and hats to people in need. Another annual event was Thank a Resident Day, or as we stretch it this year to week. This was in recognition of the resident physicians who have made the most impact on our medical education and our clinical experience by being exemplary role models and mentors. Our pre-match day retreat, which was one of the bigger Gold Humanism initiatives every year, was unfortunately canceled due to the pandemic. However, despite that, we still were able to adapt. And one of the surprises that we had in store for our classmates was surprise letters from loved ones. The pre-match day retreat was supposed to happen the day before match day, which is a very, very big day, very anxiety-ridden day for all of us. And so getting these letters from loved ones, letters of encouragement, letters of love, and letters of support was really a good surprise for everyone. We also, via Zoom, had specialty talks for the class of 2021 after match day. Having gone through the process of residency applications, we had a lot of people from my class, the class of 2020, who are now new doctors, available to answer every question we possibly can to help them as they embark on the next step of their careers. And finally, we had the Gold Humanism handoff via Zoom, as I met a lot of you there, to ensure that the handoff of the club to the new inductees will be as smooth as possible. You all should know that even though we already did the handoff, we are all available for any and all of your questions regarding any of these initiatives. I'd like to acknowledge the work my classmates and fellow inductees in the class of 2020 put in throughout the year for all these initiatives, especially all the adapting we had to do with the current pandemic. It was truly an honor to work with a diverse group of individuals who all go above and beyond for patients, classmates, peers, and family. We all can't wait to see these initiatives continue with your class and perhaps even new ones to take place. As Dr. Chair said earlier, you all are joining a community of champions of humanism, and I hope that you take this platform and privilege to do the most good. And so without further ado, I'd like to bring it back to Dr. Milling for the testimonials about this year's inductees.
Thank you, Dr. Bola. And Dr. Bola is going to join me in the induction of the new student members of the Sarkin chapter of the Gold Humanism Honor Society. So I will start out, and then Dr. Bola will take over halfway through the inductions with regards to everyone else. So if we can get started with our first inductee, Claudia Agahi. So it said about Claudia, conversations Claudia had with patients are always patient-centered, calming, and hopeful. She wholeheartedly invests herself into the betterment of the field and patient care. She has dedicated her time to the Priscilla Project, where refugee women are mentored during their first pregnancy, the Lighthouse Free Medical Clinic, and the Mercy Doula Project, working with end-of-life care patients at ECMC. Claudia has also been very involved in the Human Rights Initiative. She's going to be a phenomenal present and asset to her patients in future work. Claudia, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Milling.
Our second inductee is Natalia Alexandridi. So for Natalia, her nomination said, I can think of no other person who treats patients more holistically than Natalia. She's constantly exploring the social determinants of health that affect patients. And in her time at the Lighthouse Clinic, she continues to pick up findings such as abuse and depression that take a compassionate interviewer to pick up on. Patients are lucky to have interacted with her, and her future patients will be in good hands. Natalia will go the extra mile to ensure that her patients receive the highest quality care. Congrats, Natalia.
Thank you, Dr. Milling.
Our third inductee is Isabel Armendi. With regards to Isabel, her nominations read, Isabel epitomizes compassion. She has a very special ability to form a connection with another individual, and patients are quick to trust her, given her kind heart and reliable nature. She's extremely thoughtful and understands how to cheer someone up during tough times. With patients and classmates alike, she remembers small details and makes sure to follow up on the most needed. Isabel has a confident presence that immediately offers reassurance and trust to whoever she meets. Isabel, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, everyone.
Our next inductee is Jesse Cole. Jesse is a great advocate for his patients. He always considers the social determinants of health as an essential aspect of someone's healthcare plan. He frequently goes the extra step to look up medication prices and attempts to find discounts to benefit his patients. He has also dedicated a lot of time and energy towards the Lighthouse Free Medical Clinic, organizing and facilitating one of the most profitable Lighthouse fundraisers to date. Just as an aside, I saw Jesse work that night, and the smile on his face as that event came together was no small feat. Congrats, Jesse.
Thank you so much, Dr. Milling.
Our next inductee is Victoria Cranwell. With regards to Victoria, her nomination states Victoria is very empathetic and willing to go above and beyond for all her patients. She's especially very caring towards veterans. She was able to reconnect a veteran who had been hospitalized for a month with his daughter and got him to quit smoking cigarettes after 30 years of smoking. Victoria is also always sure to ask others how they're feeling and quick to offer support if anyone is having a difficult time. Congrats, Victoria.
Thank you, Dr. Milling. Congratulations, everyone.
Our next inductee is Timothy Phelan. Tim's nomination states Timothy is an incredibly thoughtful person and has been no less of a role model for being an empathetic, caring physician. He's very much a listener and has spent a lot of time giving his time to others with an open ear. Timothy cares so deeply about all his patients and wants to understand every aspect of their care. He really takes a keen interest in patients' values and how that guides their decisions. Furthermore, he has spearheaded numerous initiatives and vastly increased the opportunities his fellow students have had to engage in the humanities. Timothy, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Milling. Congrats, everyone.
Our next inductee is Tom Fiorico. Tom's nominations read, Thomas's optimism, charisma, and sense of humor can break down barriers to connect with his patients and lift their spirits. He's one of the most open-minded, empathetic, sensitive, and genuinely compassionate people I've ever met. These characteristics have already made him a force for good in our community. He demonstrated remarkable service through his work with UB Heals, our street medicine program, and the Lighthouse Free Medical Clinic dermatology team, in addition to Harvest House Good Neighbors Health Clinic. Tom, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Milling. Congrats, everybody else.
Our next nominee is Jennifer George. Jennifer's nomination states, the spirit of giving and healing are inherent in Jennifer. I will never forget how quickly she was able to connect with a patient who was known throughout the unit as one who is deeply distrusting of all medical help. This did not appear to intimidate her whatsoever. Instead, she took it upon herself to spend more time with the patient, even when no longer assigned to the unit. Jennifer went out of her way to find a book in the hospital that meant a lot to this patient. Her influence was so strong that the patient eventually regained trust in her care team. Jennifer, remarkable. Congratulations.
Thanks so much, Dr. Milling. Congratulations, everyone.
Our next student is Victoria Gosey. With regards to Victoria, Tori, her nomination reads, Tori is someone that goes wholeheartedly toward her goals and will not give up on her patient. She provides an outpouring of support and encouragement for her classmates and has an inherent ability to make people happier. If she cared for my family member, I would be confident that she'd go the extra mile for them and be a powerful advocate for their health. Victoria has made both our class and community a happier place since we started school. Tori, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Milling. Congrats, everybody.
Our next inductee is Angela Grassi. Angela's nomination reads, Angela is, Angela is an extremely passionate person who will do anything for someone when she believes in them or believes it is the right thing to do, especially when it comes to defending medically vulnerable populations. She's not afraid to speak up for what is right and ensure that each patient gets the treatment that they deserve. Patients really open up to her because she takes the time to learn patients' social history. Angela has taken genuine enjoyment in meeting and treating patients. Angela, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Milling. Congrats, everybody.
Our next inductee is Jenna Hirschkand. When I think about the kind of physician I want for my loved ones, Jenna comes to mind. She's attentive to patients' needs and emotions and is approachable in a way that I feel most doctors are not. She's someone who speaks to patients in a way that allows them to understand what is happening and someone who listens to them in a way that makes them feel heard. Jenna demonstrates the integrity and values of someone I would trust to care for my family and friends. Jenna, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Milling.
Our next inductee is Mark Lawler. Mark's nomination reads, no matter the workload, Mark always makes time for his community. He was a fantastic leader for UB Heals and has continuously shown great love and care for the homeless community. During street medicine rounds, he greeted new people with kind, gentle words and a welcoming attitude and addressed familiar faces by name with handshakes and a genuine desire to serve. Conversations with Mark are very genuine, and you can tell he deeply cares about those around him. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you, Dr. Milling. Hope everyone's doing well. Congrats.
I'm going to pass this on to my colleague now, Dr. Bola, who's going to read the nominations of the remainder of our inductees.
Still really weird to hear, Dr. Milling. Our next inductee is Jordan Levine. For his nominations, it reads, Jordan has a great sense of humor and will quickly put a smile on your face if he can sense it is needed. He is always geared towards supporting others and is the kind of person you can go to with anything. He has an incredible bedside manner and a calming way about him. Jordan exemplifies humanism by going above and beyond for patients. One example being when he spent his winter break learning how to knit so he could donate hats to babies at Oshai Children's Hospital. I would easily choose Jordan to be the doctor for my close family members. Congratulations, Jordan.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor. Congrats, everyone.
Our next inductee is Samantha Loria. For some of her nominations, it says, Samantha's continues in unwavering care for patients gives me hope about her future as a physician. I'm confident she will be the type of doctor that patients gush about to their family and friends. She goes above and beyond for patients and consistently shows compassion and interest in the well-being of others. Samantha cares deeply about social determinants of health and has spent an enormous amount of time working to engage multiple underserved, high-cost, high-utilizer patients with the UB Hotspotting program. Congratulations, Samantha.
Thank you so much. Congrats, everyone.
Our next inductee is Jenna Lynch. For her nominations, it says, Jenna truly exemplifies what it means to have the heart of a doctor in her daily life as well as her clinical work, and I hope that someday she can be the one taking care of my family. She has an amazing bedside manner and always finds a way to uncover interesting and personal information that helps others on the team connect on a deeper level with the patients that they serve. Jenna is unafraid to advocate for her patients and allow them to get the attention they deserve. Congratulations, Jenna.
Thank you, Dr. Bola. Congratulations, everyone.
Up next, we have Alexandra Marone. It says, Alexandra is a shining example of what a medical professional should be and how they should serve their community. Her mind is always geared towards service. Whether it be through Lighthouse or D-Link or any other opportunities, she recognizes the importance of working hard for others. She has impacted countless lives through her efforts, and I know she will continue to do so moving forward. Alexandra isn't just interested in serving her community. She's always the first to show up and volunteer to do so. Congratulations, Alex.
Thanks, Dr. Bola, and congratulations, everybody.
Up next, we have Mark Perschlach. Mark is driven by helping people. He strives to meet folks where they are and engage people through kindness, compassion, and human connection. Mark is in medicine for all the right reasons and is going to be a fantastic physician, one that not only cares for his patients, but will do whatever he can to help each person he encounters. He always goes out of his way to lend a helping hand or listening ear. I would happily send my loved ones to him. Congratulations, Mark. Up next, we have Mark Rujai. Mark's bedside manner is beyond excellent, and patients are lucky to be in such a compassionate caregiver's hands who has a touch of humor too. He led Outpatient, a student-run organization that recognizes LGBTQ+ individuals and has continuously shown his love and support for people struggling with their respective identities. Also, as the Lighthouse STI manager, he would often have to call patients with bad news, such as a positive test, and would do so with remarkable compassion. Congratulations, Mark. Next, we have Ryan Salemi. For his nomination, it reads, very few people have the innate ability to instill a feeling of calmness in their patients, but this is something Ryan has demonstrated time and time again. His positive and caring attitude is contagious, and this results in great rapport with his patients. Ryan was a Lighthouse manager and continues to volunteer very often as a third year, even during difficult rotations. He's always happy to be there, and getting to help the patients at Lighthouse appears to be a bright spot of his week. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thanks, Aaron, and congratulations, everybody.
Next, we have Matthew Simpson. For his nominations, it reads, Matthew embodies kindness, compassion, and truly cares about people. He's selfless and generous, especially with his time, which is our most valuable commodity as medical students. I am very lucky to have this person in my life, and I would place my family's care into his hands without another thought. I recently went through a difficult time that was hard to talk about with others because they didn't seem to understand. And even though he may not have understood exactly what I was going through, he was supportive, kind, and non-judgmental. Matthew will be a brilliant physician. Congratulations.
Thank you, Aaron.
Up next, we have Natasha Singh. For her nominations, it says, Natasha is an endless inspiration to her peers through her selfless actions. She's the type of person who performs acts of kindness when no one is watching. On Halloween, the day before her PEDS shelf examination, she took the extra measure to dress up as Yoda and bring a lightsaber in for an 8-year-old bone marrow transplant patient, since she knew that he loved Star Wars. They had a galactic battle in his hospital room. It got the patient so excited and energized that he wanted to walk around the Hem-Onc wing holding Yoda's hand, managing to walk double the distance he normally does during his daily PT session. Congratulations, Natasha.
Thank you so much. Congrats, everyone.
Our next inductee is Christine Tufexis. Christine is one of the most cheerful people I know. She has such an inviting and warm personality that her patients instantly recognize and appreciate. One night at the Lighthouse Medical Clinic, a young woman came in and ultimately required a pregnancy test. When the result came back positive, Christine took the time to work with the patient and come up with a plan for her. She broke the news to the patient in such a comfortable and competent manner, and the patient was able to get a referral to Planned Parenthood because of her. Congratulations, Christine.
Thank you, Aaron. Congrats, everyone.
And last but not the least, we have Robert Welliver. For Robert, one nomination reads, not only does Robert approach his patients with care and sensitivity, but he supports his colleagues in the same way, and that should not go unnoticed. Robert is definitely one of those people who genuinely cares for his patients and does a fantastic job connecting with them on a personal level. Many times during rounding, patients complimented him on how he has a good bedside manner and made them feel cared for as opposed to just being patients. Congratulations, Robert.
Thank you, Dr. Bola. Congratulations to everybody.
Greg, if I could say something, If I may say something just very quickly, as an old timer who's been around here for a very long time, I want to say to Dr. Milling and Dr. Kane that with students like we've just seen, the world is definitely going to be a better place.
Agreed. Thanks, Dr. Kane. And I would also like to thank Dr. Milling and Dr. Bola, and congratulations to the new student inductees. We're going to move on now to the resident induction. I've not mentioned that UB is one of only 13 resident GHHS chapters in the world. Back in 2012, Dr. Peter Martin, along with his wife, Dr. Colleen Nugent, and Dr. Dan Sheehan, a pediatrician and dean for curriculum at UB, were instrumental in getting us this resident chapter. And since then, the chapter has been very active. And I would like to introduce Dr. Peter Martin, who will do the resident inductions. Dr. Martin.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, and it would be great if we could do this in person. In some year, we'll be able to, but until then, I'm glad that we can at least get everyone together, even if it's virtually. So, as Dr. Chair just mentioned, it's also a pleasure to be part of the resident and fellow chapter, especially since nationally we are relatively uncommon, and it's one of the really nice things that UB that we're able to continue through the training spectrum, both from medical school and on into residency and fellowship, to highlight the contributions and the things that we really want in the doctors that are out there, whether it's from a clinical standpoint and otherwise, to try to continue with this message of humanism. I just want to say too, it's great to hear all the stories from the medical students. I always find that inspiring, which sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's true. And I find that's just as true when thinking about the stories that we're about to hear from the residents and the fellows that are part of this inducting class. So it's nice to know again that especially with all this stuff going on. And what I'll say is for all the nominees and all the individuals who are inducted tonight, this all came about before COVID was really on the scene. And so it's been really inspiring too to see everyone in the hospitals and treating patients in pretty challenging circumstances. And in many ways, the residents and the fellows have been leaders in that setting. So humanism is seen throughout. So without further ado, let's go through tonight's inductees. So first up, we have Sarah Aka, and it was mentioned with her that she is the most caring and the most compassionate physician, excuse me, that she is a role model for her peers. She takes the time to involve the interns and the medical students in making a plan for a patient. And as everyone knows, it's really hard, especially when you are on the wards, to even have that time. So this is a big deal. This is not inconsequential. And especially in the meds peds residency, I know those are pretty busy floors. She takes extra time to care for the patients and is excellent at involving patients in their own care. Patient-centered care is a hard thing as well. She goes above and beyond the call of duty. She's the epitome of what a physician should be. So congratulations, Dr. Aka.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martin. Congratulations, everyone.
So next we have Dr. Othman Akhtar. And so for him, it was mentioned that he's one of those rare blends of brilliance, humanism, and diligence, all in perfect proportion, which I just need to say, that's a great recommendation. I wish I could be like that more often. Every day, he amazed me with his sincerity and drive to help patients. He took care of an elderly patient with newly diagnosed lymphoma who has been having a difficult time grasping the complexities of cancer care. He spent at least 30 minutes every day for 3 weeks calling either the patient or her daughter who was living in Florida to make sure that they were on track with the various investigations and treatments. You can imagine the anxiety that is happening during this time and how relieving that must have been for the family. He's supremely loved by his colleagues and patients, and while presenting cases, he extracts personal nuggets from his patients, little pieces of information, which turns a patient into a person. His rapport with patients is phenomenal. Several of them ask for him directly when they call for their problems. So congratulations. Next, excuse me, we have, I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties on this end. There we go. We have Dr. Shervin. Oh, if it goes to the next slide, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, everyone. We have Dr. Shervin Bakshun. And so for him, it was said that Who needs anything else when you have internet problems on this end? It was said he's an exemplary resident. He cares for his patients at the deepest level and treats all who he interacts with like they are close family members. In the most challenging or the most mundane of clinical scenarios, he's always able to connect to the patients and their families and quote where they are at. He never rushes through patient encounters and he leaves no questions unanswered. As I've seen him progress through residency, he's become a true inspiration and role model to his peers and even his attendings. I would feel very comfortable knowing that he was taking care of one of my own family members, and I believe him to embody what is meant to be a model young surgeon. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Martin.
All right. Next up, we have Mazma Bawa. And for her, so she's a fourth year resident. She's just finished up her first year neonatology resident fellowship. So she's an exceptional first year fellow when this was written and has all the qualities that are expected of a GHHS member. She is smart, but most importantly, and what I believe makes her unique is her sensitivity to the wishes and the needs, not only of our patients, but also her coworkers. Her ability to serve and improve our NICU community is exceptional. Personally, she's a constant reminder of what honor and humanism is in our busy days and from the day-to-day schedule. You're lucky to have her as part of our program. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Congrats, everybody.
Next, we have Travis Blanton. And it was said for him that he displays all the qualities of a humanistic physician. For example, when he was in the VA rotating in the ICU, he stayed over on several non-call days to comfort and reassure a particularly sick patient. While on call every other night, Q2, he would occasionally stay over to watch football games with this patient to help provide a semblance of normalcy for the patient. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to everyone else.
Next, we have Chanel Fernandez, who's a second year, soon to be third year in internal medicine. And it's said that she is a compassionate and kind soul. It's what led her to becoming a social worker prior to her decision to attend med school and pursue her current vocation. During residency, she has fostered genuine relationships with her patients to the point that she is missed by them and staff alike when she is off service. She has visited terminal patients during their final stay in hospice and has always been the first to counsel patients through their loved ones' hardships. She continues to spread her infectious cheer as wellness chief for the upcoming year, which I had to point out, I think is a great position and very humanistic. She does all she can for her patients, their loved ones, and her colleagues. In short, she is the perfect inductee for this honorable distinction. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Martin, and congratulations, everyone.
Next, we have Idaritha Goya. And for her, it was said that she's very compassionate and empathetic to her patients and cares for them as a whole being. I have seen her go above and beyond to address her patients' concerns and do the best for them. She advocates strongly for her patients and works with them to deliver optimal health care. She actively engages her patients to make sure that they understand and that their health condition and they are understanding what to do in order to be compliant. She is always present with their patients, irrespective of the time of day. And I'm amazed by the solitude, said someone else, that she has for her patients. She will take time outside her clinic hours to help the patient understand their treatment plan, which at times can be extremely complex. I can only imagine endocrine some of these treatment plans as a psychiatrist. I have seen her take care of the patient as a whole, giving due consideration to their social and financial situations, rather than just as the individual with diabetes or the person with a hyperthyroidism problem. I cannot think of a more deserving candidate for this award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Martin. Congratulations to everybody.
Next, we have Camille Gutierrez. And for her, it was said that she's been part of a healthcare community for over 10 years in various capacities. And these experiences have helped shape her growth into a humanistic, caring physician. Currently, at the time of this nomination, she was in her second year and is a role model for healthcare providers. She is the resident that won't stop until she knows that her patients understand and agrees with the treatment plan. She ensures that the team is all on the same page and focused on the patient's best interests. She does this all with grace and with passion. She is compassionate in her care of patients as well as the team in providing optimal care to her patients. Congratulations. Next, we have Harold Haman. And for him, it was said that he's incredibly deserving of inclusion in GHHS. I haven't worked with a resident who is more compassionate, patient, and caring towards patients, staff, and fellow physicians. This has been especially evident during the rotation on pediatric urology. While working with stressed parents can be a challenge for even the most seasoned specialist, he has excelled. He calms patients and parents with ease and is always willing to take an extra moment to make sure all instructions are clear and expectations are met. This is a skill that not all surgeons possess. He's also a leader among junior residents in our program, and he handles conflicts with compassion and fairness. I looked at him as a role model of how to handle challenging interpersonal situations in the hospital. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for the honor.
Next, we have Brian Ludwig, and for him, it was said that he exemplifies compassionate and empathetic care for his patients. He spends time advocating for his patients and their families. So for example, one of his patients, was made comfort care. He stayed with her until she passed, and while playing with the patient, her favorite music, as she had no family present while she was dying. He goes above and beyond for his patients and their families during extraordinarily difficult times. He has productive meetings with critically ill patients while being compassionate and empathetic, but still advocating for his patients and their wishes. He's a role model for patient care in his clinical skills and his ability to connect with patients. And he exemplifies what is GHHS and provides humanistic patient-centered care. Congratulations. Next, we have Ali Madhavi. And for him, it was said that he is a deserving candidate for the Gold Humanism Honor Society. He's extremely compassionate, respectful, and empathetic towards his patients. He consistently goes above and beyond when it comes to his patients, and he's a wonderful role model for his colleagues with his bright personality and the way he cares for those around him. Congratulations.
Thanks, Dr. Martin, and congrats to everyone.
And last, at least for me, but not total, is Manu Pandey. And for him, it was said he's a champion for his patients and treats them like family with love and personalized care. For example, we had an elderly patient with relapsed aggressive lymphoma. He was otherwise fit and wished to pursue more treatment. Manu searched deep into the literature and came up with several innovative regimens which helped the patient. He came on many non-clinical days to see the patient on an urgent basis. As the patient was dying, he was admitted to another hospital where aggressive treatments were being considered. He went to that other hospital, talked to the patient, his family, the care team, and guided them towards a more humane approach. The patient eventually passed away peacefully at home with hospice care. It was due to his extraordinary effort that suffering was avoided. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the honor.
And without further ado, I hand it back over to Dr. Chair for our last inductee and to continue forward.
Thanks, Dr. Martin. Just unmuting myself. I'm taking over for this for the last inductee, Dr. Goda Savilyunita, in part because I've worked closely with her, and at least 10 times in the past, I've stood outside a patient door and said, please tell me again how you pronounce your name. And I've said every time, I've got it this time, and I wanted to prove it, I've got it. So Dr. Goda darn it, I lost it. Savilyunita, his nomination said, aside from excelling technically and in clinical knowledge, Goda cares for patients in a conscientious and compassionate manner. She is completely invested in patient care and wears that on her sleeve daily. She possesses all the qualities of an ideal surgeon. A second nominator said, she's someone that emulates humanism in every action that she carries out. Each day, she helps patients and families work through the trauma of their situations. She leads end-of-life discussions with such grace and provides peace to the families. She cares so immensely for her patients and puts their needs ahead of her own. She employs the same level of caring for her fellow residents. She always thinks of other people before her and makes sacrifices to allow for the ease of others. In a field such as surgery, where humanism is not always the most dominant trait, Goda is a shining light. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chair.
Okay, if we were live, we would be moving on to dessert. So imagine, if you will, dessert arriving, or maybe you've got dessert with you now. We're going to move on to the faculty inductions. And these came from nominations from students. The first inductee is Dr. Kelly Bershu, who is Associate Professor of Medicine and a hospitalist. And her nomination says, when a patient required an immediate transfer to Roswell for treatment, Dr. Bershu took the initiative to wheel the patient herself to not further delay treatment or add on to the expense for the family, pay for the ambulance. She was showing her baby videos along the way to help calm the patient. When we got back, the social worker noted that not every attending would have taken the time out of their day to do this. She also often comes back to the team room in the afternoons with various stories and tidbits about patients because she always took the time to truly get to know her patients. She brings compassion and kindness to her work and works tirelessly to create supportive learning environment for her team because she truly wants us to succeed and be the best we can be. Dr. Bershu.
Thank you so much, everyone. I've just seen this for the first time, and it's so thoughtful. So thank you for whoever nominated me, and congratulations to all the other inductees.
Next, Dr. Vernon Clifton, who is Assistant Professor of Medicine, a geriatrician and a hospitalist. Dr. Clifton's nomination said, he's someone who brings excitement to his job every day. He puts in the work to create a more positive and fulfilling work environment, working with residents on time management, valuing the safety of nurses and other staff members in his decision-making, and thinking of solutions to improve team morale. In addition, he has been an incredibly empathetic person when breaking bad news to patients and families. He is compassionate and honest while providing a non-judgmental space for them to process their emotions and ask questions, and carefully listens because he values the mental health of patients as well. Dr. Clifton, congratulations.
Thank you. What a great honor to join so many esteemed colleagues. Thank you very much.
The next inductee is Dr. Peter Kowalski, who is Assistant Professor of Family Medicine. The nomination says, it's common to hear Dr. Kowalski say, you know the 20-year-old you just saw as a patient? I delivered him. He builds long-lasting relationships with his patients, students, and colleagues. One of the most notable of these relationships is with his alma mater, Cheektowaga Central Middle and High School, where he provides weekly free school physicals, and I believe he's done that for almost 30 years. In addition to being a model family physician, he's dedicated so much of his time to community service and ensuring that the next generation of physicians are supported in their service learning projects. He volunteers several weekday evenings and a month as a preceptor with the Lighthouse Free Medical Clinic and UB Heal's Street Medicine Outreach. He allows the students to feel comfortable to discuss cases, career goals, and volunteering. Dr. Kowalski also volunteers annually in a small town in rural Mexico, providing medical care and supplies. However, he always remains humble and grounded about all of his volunteer efforts. Congratulations, Dr. Kowalski.
Thank you very much for this honor. Congratulations to all my fellow inductees.
Our last inductee of the evening is Dr. Archana Mishra, who's Associate Professor of Medicine. Her nomination reads, as second-year medical students, we all have the opportunity to learn how to break bad news and practice with cancer survivors. After coming back to the room crying, Dr. Mishra gave me a hug and shared personal stories of breaking bad news. She spoke about how you should never be ashamed to have emotions or to cry in these situations because having empathy and being human do make us great doctors. Since taking that time to help me process my emotions over the experience, she continues to be the person who asks, how are you? And it turns into a 10-minute conversation about what you're currently struggling with and things that are going well in your life. She pours her heart and soul into creating joy alongside fostering our academic pursuits, yet never ignoring the difficulties and burnout that often coexist. Her kindness and excitement for medicine is inspiring, and her mentorship and advocacy to medical students has been invaluable. Congratulations, Dr. Mishra.
Thank you so much.
And Dr. Mishra has been kind enough to agree to speak on behalf of all of tonight's inductees. So I will hand over the spotlight to Dr. Mishra.
So on behalf of my fellow inductees, I want to thank the chapter for the privilege and the unique opportunity to come together and create a more humanistic world, a world where we can provide compassionate, collaborative, and scientifically excellent care to everyone, irrespective of their skin color, race, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation, where we can truly honor the dignity of an individual. So respect is earned, but dignity is our birthright. During the COVID-19 pandemic, one thing we've learned is that the life-sustaining force in medicine is human connection. I'd like to share with you a story. My first COVID-19 patient healed me. As I walked into his room, donned with a cap, a mask, it was a paper mask with a face shield and gown, I could barely recognize myself. But to my surprise, as soon as I walked in, the patient said, "Hey, it's you, Dr. Mishra. You can fool me with that disguise. I could recognize the kindness in your eyes." That statement gave me the courage to carry on. All my fears melted. And, throughout that, even with patients where we had nothing to offer, all I could do was hold their hand and cry. But it's that human connection that truly sustains us. Mahatma Gandhi once said that you truly, or the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So let's all get together and embark on this journey to find ourselves and give our lives meaning. Congratulations to all.
Thanks so much, Dr. Mishra, for your thoughtful words, and congratulations to everybody. Next slide, please. Next, I would like for us to go through the Gold Humanism Honor Society oath, which I feel is particularly pertinent in these times. I pledge by all that I hold dear as a physician, I will care for my patients with compassion, respect, empathy, integrity, and clinical excellence. I will listen to my patients with my whole being. I will advocate for each patient as a unique individual. I will serve as a role model and mentor to promote humanism in healthcare. I will remember always the healing power of acts of caring. I will dedicate myself to joining others to make healthcare optimal for all. So at this point, if we were live, we would raise a glass as a toast. So I in fact do have a glass. Will raise my glass of water in a toast to this year's inductees into the Gold Humanism Honor Society and to the members who were present on this call, donors, faculty, families, and friends, to the new inductees. I would like to thank the donors who've helped support this evening and the Sarkin chapter. I would also like to thank the many, many people who have behind the scenes made what's a super technically challenging presentation seem easy, and that's Susan Orange, Jen Turkovich, Danae Howard, Mary Schaus, Jennifer Britton, as well as the chapter members who contributed. Would also like to thank Dean Kane for his continued support and endorsement of the chapter, and wearing his support for humanism on his sleeve. I would like to thank the emeritus faculty, as well as Marcia Sarkin and the donors who continue to support our chapter and help make us the leaders in humanism. Next slide, please. We will have a membership meeting in July. If we were in a different time, I would be sharing with you plans for a regional humanism conference. I went to a conference in Grand Rapids, Michigan in February. I was due to go to one in Philadelphia with the support of the Gold Foundation, and I had plans for us to have a regional humanism conference. We have all the elements here. We could have a great conference, but the times have changed. And so again, one of the COVID silver linings is we've figured out how to do things like this. We've gotten together hundreds of people virtually, and I think we can do that with projects such as humanism book clubs, humanism grand rounds, and humanism journal club. And so I think there's lots of opportunities for us to meet virtually and share best practices and our thoughts about humanism. So lots more interesting things coming down the pike. I apologize, we're 11 minutes over, so we're almost done. Next slide, please. One of the newest Gold Foundation initiatives is the Velchek Gold Award for Humanism in Healthcare. And this is awarded to a foreign-born healthcare professional who has made extraordinary contributions to humanism in healthcare. And this was created at a time when there wasn't always a national spotlight on the contributions of foreign-born immigrants. And so the first awardee was Dr. Mona Hanna Atisha, who was the pediatrician who was in Flint, Michigan, the whistleblower who identified the lead poisoning. And it was just announced last week or 2 weeks ago that Dr. Vivek Murthy, who was the 19th Surgeon General, is this year's awardee. Next, please. He said at the AAMC meeting in a speech supported by the Gold Foundation, the world is locked in a struggle between love and fear. Choose love always. And so I would like to leave you with that thought after this really special evening. Choose love always. Thanks so much, everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening.